Ladies and gentlemen, do we have some news today? Call of Duty 2020 officially got kind of not so much really revealed, but we know what Call of Duty 2020 is now going to be, and it is not Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. It is just Call of Duty Black Ops, and there is big evidence to support this, and that is what this video is going to be all about, explaining what this evidence is and diving a little bit further into this leaked image that I'm not actually allowed to show you, but I almost fully recreated because every image that was found in the leaked image can actually be found online. Now that I've totally confused you, let me explain myself. So let's dive into this and discuss where this information actually came from. So basically, it's from data miners, not in Call of Duty, but rather PS4. There's a way to data mine the PS4 and see certain games that aren't necessarily displayed on the store and things like that, and to see all of the updates that have happened to them. And essentially, when the data miners were doing this, they found a file for the Red Door, which is a game that nobody's heard of, no one knows about, and essentially it was a code name for a given game. Now, what they found when they dove into the game files for the Red Door is lines of code that said COD 2020 INT Alpha, which hints towards this actually being an alpha for Call of Duty 2020. This actually makes a lot more sense than you think, because no, we're not going to get a public alpha, but the people currently working at Treyarch and Activision are people who are currently staying home working, which means they need to download the game to actually play test it, and this, the Red Door, is actually a code for the Call of Duty 2020 alpha. Now, when they dove more into the game files, they actually found an image that was a promo image for Call of Duty 2020, and it displayed Call of Duty Black Ops, very similar to what you are seeing on screen here. I actually recreated this based off of images that I found online, and it's almost identical to the original image. Now, I can't show you the original image because the reason why we know this is true is because people who have posted this image are actually getting copyright strikes. Like I said, I recreated this, and it's recreated so well that it's almost exactly the same as the original. There's a couple of differences, but I'm going to explain to you what we can find out through this image. So starting off in the middle, we have the Call of Duty Black Ops logo, which is actually a little bit different than the original Call of Duty Black Ops logo. This is identical to the logo that was on the original image, and it is exactly as displayed. Now, right behind that, where it says Classified Productions, that logo is different. In the original image, it was a CIA logo. This makes a lot of sense because the two characters that were in the original Call of Duty Black Ops, Frank Woods and Alex Mason, were both a part of the CIA, and the missions, the Black Ops that you went on, were for the CIA. So once again, returning in Call of Duty 2020 are going to be CIA soldiers. Now, where this gets really interesting is when we look in the bottom left-hand corner. In the original image, the same two pieces of paper that you are seeing in the bottom left-hand corner were in the original image. However, they blacked out a bunch of the information. As it turns out, I could find these exact two pieces of paper on the CIA website without the redacted information. So what you're seeing here is actually more accurate than what they displayed in their image. And let me show you what is on here. So this is the first piece of paper that we have. And if you don't believe me about this, go find the original image, have a look, compare this image that you're seeing here. You will see that they are exactly the same. So first of all, this paper was written on March 15th, 1976. And that makes a lot of sense, as we are rumored to have Call of Duty Black Ops, this Call of Duty 2020 game, take place during the Cold War, which 1976 is right in the middle of that. On the right-hand side, you can see that it is written to a CIA agent named Turner, which there is a Jay Turner that is in Call of Duty Black Ops 1, but he's a very minor character, not even seen on screen. He's actually only found in a computer terminal. And another interesting thing about this document is on the right-hand side, it is said to be reviewed in the year 2020, which is of course the year that this Call of Duty game is supposed to be coming out in, which is kind of interesting. Now, as far as the subject of this article, it's about invisible ink. So ink that you put on paper and can only be seen if heat from an iron, for example, is put on it. So I wonder if that's going to be somehow a part of the story, or maybe somehow a part of the reveal for this game. So the second piece of paper I found was very similar to the one that was in the original image, dated September 20th, 1977, so once again, during the Cold War, and it's a memorandum for the Secretary of Defense. Get a load of the subject of this line. Let me read the whole thing. experimentation programs conducted by the Department of Defense that had CIA sponsorship or participation that involved the administration to human subjects of drugs intended for mind control or behavior modification purposes. Does this not sound exactly like Call of Duty Zombies? And this was found in the promotional image, so does this confirm zombies? I don't know, I am just showing you what was originally in this promotional image that has been taken down by Activision because this is what's coming in 2020. Now, as far as the rest of the promotional image, I just took very similar images to what they showed. First of all, in the top left-hand corner, we can see a nuke being exploded. That is the mushroom cloud in the background. This is very similar to things that we've seen in Black Ops before with things like Nuketown. So does this mark the return of Nuketown? I don't know. On the right-hand side of the image, there was a map. Now, the map that you are seeing in this image is not the original map. This is one of Africa. But in the original image, if you can find it online, take a look at the map. I couldn't make out any of the writing on it, any of the locations. So if you have any idea what the map was in the original image, again, I can't show it on the channel, unfortunately. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I thought it might have been Africa, but I'm not 100% sure. That is why I included Africa in the image that you are seeing here. Then in the bottom right-hand corner, this is the only image that I couldn't find online, so it might be an image made by Activision or probably more likely Treyarch, but it was a topographical map, and on this map, they showed off a bunch of nuclear launch facilities. And you didn't really get a good look at them, it just kind of labeled them, and as far as those go, that's probably just going to be something to do with the story. It's going to have to do with nukes, kind of like the Black Ops story from back in the day, which really there is no surprise there. So as far as this story-wise, the two big takeaways from this are, first of all, nukes, as we discussed before. The second thing is that the CIA is going to be involved, and it's going to have a very similar story to what we saw in the original Black Ops or Call of Duty Black Ops 1. Now, just to reiterate, this image I made based off of the images that they had in their promo images. A lot of them are exactly the same that I found online. So, just to clear that up, Activision, please don't copyright my channel. Like I said, I made this image. It's not yours. It's not my fault I was able to find almost the exact same images online. Now, the next big question, when are we going to hear more about Call of Duty 2020? When are we going to get a reveal? All of these questions. So, our best bet as of right now is actually on June the 11th. As we know, Sony is having their big press conference for PS5, and as we know, Activision has a pretty big deal with Sony to have some of their content revealed with them. So it's a pretty good guess that potentially on Thursday the 11th, this is when we might actually get the reveal for Call of Duty Black Ops or Call of Duty 2020, whatever you call it. So what this says to me, if that does happen and that is when we get the reveal for Call of Duty 2020, they might actually delay the launch of Call of Duty Black Ops until December when PS5 and the new consoles actually launch. That way it's a launch title for those consoles. On top of that, that would put the launch date somewhere in December, and what this would mean is that we are getting a later Call of Duty this year. This would also explain why the reveal for Call of Duty 2020, or as we know, Call of Duty Black Ops, is delayed so much this year because the game itself is delayed to a later date. This also lines up with what we heard about Sledgehammer getting kicked off the game, Treyarch being put on it. They have a bit more of time to actually develop the game, and with the whole coronavirus thing that's going on, it also gives them more time for that as well, which is kind of making a lot of sense at this point. So this is pretty much all of the information we have so far on this, but it's a big step forward. This is the first image that we've actually seen for the next Call of Duty game that has actually been copyright struck, which means that this is probably the real deal. Why else would Activision be taking down channels, Twitter accounts for this if it wasn't real? So some pretty big evidence so far revolving around this, and I'm definitely interested to see where this leads. Is it a full-on reboot with Black Ops in another universe, or is it the same characters with just different stories revolving around Frank Woods, Alex Mason, or like I said, are they going to pull the Modern Warfare and do the same characters but a different universe and a different timeline? At this point, we don't know, and as far as that goes, only time will tell. But as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, it's always appreciated if you do hit that like button. If you like what you see here and want to stay on top of everything Call of Duty, make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you turn notifications on. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are real. reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard.